in the back, MVP and the Hurt Syndicate. And MVP has got a string of promos going on. He is clicked in his groove, and he was in the back. He's given them a week off to go have fun. And go out and enjoy yours. No, we want to hurt some more people. We want to train. No, go have fun. I'm giving you the week off. You don't have to wrestle tonight. So off they went to have fun. But again, there was a lot of, it was a strange choice. Start out the show with Kenny, who is not a fireball orator. He's never been known to excite people with his mouth in a verbal fashion. And then you have a six-man, the guys that were going over in the squash were barely, except for Joe, above the jobber level. And then repeated promos in the back, and then the oddest tag team match, just out of nowhere, Hologram and Hobbs, Cage and Drivithico. And then you're in the back again. They showed tape of the female torture porn that they aired on the pay-per-view with Maria May and Toni Storm. And then here comes Toni Storm out. She gets on the stage. She's in the spotlight. And she's doing her accent. And she said, "This tramp is still the champ." And I got to be honest, I can't watch or listen to this stuff. It is so preposterous, but this is the only thing that they had really enjoyed up till now. The people are cheering this fucking phony bullshit. So it's the people that watch wrestling to laugh at it. And I can't blame them with this product that they're watching, but I still have some resentment toward people that laugh at wrestling. But I can understand with what they're watching. But she finished her performance, and then Megan Brain came from behind and knocked her out with a forearm with one shot from boom, and stood over her. They just showed tape. She'd been a bloody mess. She'd been pile driven. She'd been fucking beat with blunt instruments and won the match. But this girl come, boom, one forearm, flat, one down she goes and stays there. Was this a wrestling show or public access on cable where people are allowed to come and do their skits, Brian?
Well, at least her skit's over. Like you said, I may not be a big fan of just the over. I think I've said it before. I'd be a fan of it if it was on other TV shows other than wrestling. Like, who's this crazy character? She's like, the new Phyllis Diller. Who is she? But instead, it's in the middle of the show, and, everyone enjoys playing along. That's where the ironic wrestling fan comes back into play. Megan Bayne. Man, I'm high on her. She's got a look. She carries herself well. We haven't seen her really work a long, good match yet. But they're going with her right away.
I got some background on her. One of the fans, when we were talking about her a show or two ago, when we were saying, how did WWE miss out on this? Apparently, AEW found her before she either had trained at all, or as I recall, had trained very little, and nobody had seen her, and they put her under a contract and sent her to wherever the fuck she was, Japan or whatever. So the poor thing, I guess, was sold a bill of goods that they were a company that could develop talent, that didn't know much about the wrestling business, didn't know how to. I mean, if you knew anything about the wrestling business and you're Megan Bayne standing looking in the mirror, you go, I need to call the WWE. But, apparently that's how they got her. And now, however long her contract is going to be however long she has to serve in this purgatory before we find out if she can learn and grow and become a star to match the look.
It's like being a baseball player, and you're out of high school. You have a choice of college, maybe, or getting drafted. Or maybe you're out of college, you get drafted. Right now, she's working the minor leagues. And I don't even mean that as a shot of AEW. I'm talking about baseball, that actual example. But put in your time, get better at what you do. And when the time is right, you can go, and you may not get a ton of money right out of the gate, but you'll have the chance to, especially with her look and her size.
But see, now you're overlooking one thing, though. The baseball players had played baseball
all their lives.
Yeah. And what is going to happen here is this girl with this amazing size and look and presence and whatever is going to learn from these slapdash indie jackoffs all these bad habits and how not to think about a wrestling match and how to put shit together where your moves look like you're at a video game instead of having a match. And they're going to hold up as the pinnacle of female wrestling accomplishment, that fucking, ridiculous insanity that Toni Storm and Maria did the other day. And they're going to think that's good. And then she's going to have to be retrained, which may be more difficult than training from scratch when she gets to NXT. So, Brian, I think, well, go ahead. What were you going to say?
I was just going to say, if you wanted her to get better right now, is there a better person? I mean, maybe one or two, but are there too many better people than Toni Storm for her to work with in the ring, talking about actually working?
Well, but it depends. Again, I don't know who to go out on a limb for anymore. Toni Storm obviously wants to be an actress or whatever or something. I don't know what's going on in her mind that she would perpetrate this on the wrestling business. But there needs to be a Mickie James. We were talking about somebody who was training the girls on the LFG show or BFD show or whatever the fuck it is. And they moved her over for Michelle McCool. Mickie James would be able to speak to the girls from experience. She's been around long enough. She knows stupid shit not to do. And it's the same, she could funnel people, accentuate strengths and eliminate weaknesses, or they can just go out there and do their own thing.
They have Serena Deeb. I mean, she's not necessarily the same in terms of success as a character as Mickie James, but in terms of in-ring work.
Well, Serena can teach the mechanics and the physical part because she was a Rip Rogers student. She knows how to wrestle and knows how to work the physical part, but because she's never been in a major position and hasn't worked as a single on her own like Mickie James has, and hasn't worked for a long time in the major company to learn how to work with television production, etc., she might not be the best psychology or performance coach. But that's why you get a little bit of everything. Brian, you know what you get a little bit of everything with?
What's that? No, I don't.
The Raycon everyday wireless earbuds. That's what you get a little bit of everything with.
That's a 5-star transition there. Great job.
Because you get a little bit of music, you get a little bit of news, you get a little bit of podcasts, you get a little bit of phone calls. You can do most anything with you can listen to anything with these things. You can program them to say exactly or do exactly what you want them to say and do. Play the music you want. Play your own kind of music. Live your own kind of life with the Raycon everyday earbuds. Nobody's going to judge you because nobody can hear what you're listening to. Can you imagine, Brad? You could be walking down the side of the street or driving down the road. You could be listening to the sound effects of some graphic pornography with a smile on your face, and nobody knows. They think you're listening to, I don't know, Barbara Mandrell. In actuality, you're listening to Vanessa Del Rio. Oh, my God. Give it to me up the ass.
Well, hold on. Let's take a step back. Let's take a giant step back. Why would you listen to anything like that walking down the street? It seems like you'd be torturing yourself. But let's get back to the sounds of podcasts and music, and out of the brain of Louisville, Raycon.
Yes. Now, is there any podcast where they play the sounds of famous porn stars getting protruded up the yin yang?
I don't know
Because
anything.
that would be another thing you could listen to. The podcast world needs something different. But folks, something different comes with the everyday wireless earbuds because they're different in fact that they cost less than half the price of these other premium audio brands with similar features. Well, you don't need to spend all your money. You can get the Raycons. They know what you want. They're hooking you up. You know how they do it? Low overhead. They don't pay all those girls to make those soundtracks of those sexual encounters. They put a microphone out in front of the window of an apartment complex in Cleveland, and then they pass the savings on to you. And their latest model is better than ever, a 32-hour battery life. So you can, my God, you could listen to somebody literally just scream and yell to your heart's content in 32 hours. And it lets you pair with two devices at once, wink, wink, with the multi-point connectivity feature. And they come in a variety of vibrant colors, Brian. They've got all kinds of vibrant colors for different skin tones and festive occasions. Get the red ones for Valentine's Day. And the pink ones whenever you climb Mount Vulva. And they offer a 30-day happiness guarantee return policy where they will not ask you any questions whatsoever. They'll just take them back and they'll give you your money back, and then you'll be placed on a list. If I were you, I wouldn't try to leave the country. Brian, you got your name off that list, didn't you?
Well, there are no lists, and of course, you can listen to anything you want on your Raycons, podcast, music, the finest sounds, everything from, like you said before, yin yang to lin lang, whatever it is, Raycon.
What? Yin yang to ling lang. Well, you can listen at the gym. You can listen at work. No wonder you get fired. You never hear what the boss is telling you because you're always listening to our podcast while you're at work. And you can make and receive phone calls on these things. Well, you can't actually talk into them, but you can hear your phone calls through the earbud. Can you talk into the earbuds?
I am not the authority to let the audience know exactly what to do.
Maybe we ought to be using these earbuds for our new sound apparatus here on the program.
Well, again, let's get back to the listener, Mr. and Mrs. America, and of course around the world. Well, at least let's focus on America now that I think about it. Raycon, there for you.
Well, that's good. Most of the people around the world don't like us much anymore, so they might not be listening anyway. Well, but Mr. and Mrs. America and all the ships at sea, if you don't get the Raycon everyday earbuds, you're missing out. The greatest sound quality. They've got active noise cancellation. You can drown out the most maddening of sounds, such as the daily news. And they've got all the other things, the quick charge function, the vibrant colors, 30-day guarantee. And right now, you can go to buyraycon.com, BUYRAYCON, buyraycon.com/JCE, and get 20% off. 20% off the best-selling everyday earbuds. They are the best-selling everyday earbuds in the entire category of everyday earbuds. And they're brought to you by Raycon. That's buyraycon.com/JCE. 20% off, and you can literally listen to anything. As a matter of fact, if you put these in your ears and you put your head up or your ear up against the wall, you can hear what's going on in the next room.
That is not... No, did I press mute? I did not. I am still mad. My fingers sometimes do their own thing. That is not how it works, but Raycon will be there to work for you with the latest sounds, the greatest sounds, all sounding great in your ears. Let's get
the latest sounds, the greatest sounds, all sounding great. And here's mounds of sounds and stacks of wax, all designed with you in mind. And here's one's guaranteed to blow your mind from that golden year, 1957. Buyraycon.com/JCE. 20% off.
Yes, a great deal. Great earbuds, Raycon.
Well, you better quit while you're ahead now.
JCE.
Because we see you wouldn't quit. Now, here's another thing you can do with them, but you got to lube them up first.
No, let's just move on now from here, please. Oh, God. Damn you. Back to AEW, speaking of lubing things up, AEW Dynamite.
Yes, all right.
He's there. He's back, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, I had to take a break for a moment.